Hello everyone, welcome to the 8th episode of PAINTCULIAR with me, Akin. The doll I'm going to be making for this episode is part of the Pride 2021 doll collaboration. So for this collaboration, each of the participants got an assigned color according to the Pride flag. I got pink. Anyway, let's check out who the participants are. Enchantarium with red, Hexion with orange, the Dolly Geek with yellow, Ejalicrest with green, Dollings with blue, Kiro's Workshop with purple, Stitchwick Creations with black, Jackie O with brown, Falcatis World with light blue, and me with pink. Now let's see how I did my part. We'll be using slow-mo from Monster High as the base. Yes, we'll be making a trans moment in this episode, hence the occasion. But we're not using slow-mo's head only because I want to use it for another project, so let's find another head. I think Dracula's head makes a good choice, light blue and pink, it's meant to be, so yeah, we're going with this head. Let's remove both heads from their original bodies. Remove Dracula's molded hair as well since we won't need it. The heat from the hot water made this removal easy. The bodies have different neck pegs. They work the same, I just thought it's interesting. Here's the parts we're actually going to use, let's get to it. With pure acetone and cotton pads, wipe off the factory paint. Then clean it with some wet wipes or soapy water and put it aside for now. We're gonna deal with the body first. Roughen up the body surface with a sanding sponge so epoxy will stick better to it. Body modification time, mix the two-part epoxy. The one I'm using is from the brand Epoclay. It's a local Indonesian brand, so just use whatever's available to you if you want to do the same. I start by adding mass to the chest, a top surgery if you will. I'm going for a traditionally feminine silhouette. I flatten out the neck. Add more materials to the thighs. I let this face cure before continuing by reshaping the hips. One side is done, let's do the other. I also flatten out the muscle definition of the upper arms. Let this face cure and then make the butt bigger. That is all for the additions. Let's move on to sanding sessions, starting with rasps to take out large bumps on the epoxy surface. With an X-Acto knife, I clean up the thigh area to make sure the materials we added don't interfere with the doll's articulation. Proceed the sanding session by using a sanding sponge to both smoothen out the scratches caused by the rasps and the transitions between the epoxy and the plastic. To make everything nice and smooth again and also to finish the sanding session, I use 3M fine sanding sponge. Also, I think this is the first body modification I've done without cutting any parts. It was such a breeze. We're going to change the doll skin color by airbrushing, so let's mix the paint. Add water to the paint. Store it in a small plastic bottle. Now we can airbrush the doll. Here's what the body looks like after recoloring. It turned out to be more natural looking than I expected. It's alright I guess because it's still pink nonetheless. Every time you change a doll's color with paint, please continue working on a soft cushy surface to prevent the paint from scrapping. Here I'm working on a piece of packaging foam. I'm not planning to blush the body because I don't think there's a need for that, so let's apply protective layers of watered down matte varnish using a good old brush. I give all the body parts 3 coats of this stuff. Time for the face up. I know the head was already pink, but I was afraid it was a different shade of pink, so I airbrushed it anyway just to be sure it will match the body. As usual, I sprayed the face 3 times with Mr. Super Clear before blushing it with soft pastel. Sprayed it again with MSC, then map out the eyebrows and lips. I think I did pretty well with the blushing this time. Now we can sketch the eyes using watercolor pencils. With a darker pink pencil, I draw on the eyebrow hairs. I like to make the other tips of the eyebrows darker. Here I'm using a hot pink magenta pencil to do that. Continue by filling the color of the eyes. Her eyes are gonna be blue because, well, we need accent colors. With a wet brush, leave the pigment from the pencil to do her lips, just like a lipstick, I guess. I draw on the eyelashes with a black pencil and it was not easy. I fill in the pupil as well and do the same to the other eye. Now it's just a matter of increasing the opacity. If the color won't build up anymore, spray a fresh layer of MSC and continue working on it until you get your desired result. You know how it goes. Finally, we can dot on the eye shine, seal the deal with the last spray of MSC, and the face up is done. I think she turned out to be pretty, unlike Guinevere. Not Guinevere becoming the black sheep of his channel, but whatever, I get to be mean to her. I made her, said every malicious parent. Moving on to the hair, I already made some pink yarn wefts. I mark where the part would be and start gluing the wefts. The indentation on the head is actually a good thing because gluing the wefts on it makes the finished hair lace flatter and nicer. Glue a dense weft in the opposite direction and flip it backwards to make the part. We're done gluing the wefts, now let's tame the hair with a wet toothbrush. She looks cute like this, but this is not the style I have in mind. I want her to have that short wavy hairdo. I don't know what the hairstyle is called, but it's quite trendy these days. I begin by trimming the bangs. Use a hair straightener to hit a metal chopstick and wrap sections of hair to curl it. Here's what we have, then I comb the hair out hoping that it will loosen the curls. I'm not feeling it. Maybe trimming the hair would make it look better. Nope, the hair still looks terrible. Let's just curl it again. Separate the curls again, but this time with just my fingers. Now this is what I'm talking about. Pink wig, thick ass, give 'em whiplash. I think sorry, got carried away there. Anyway, the key is to separate the curls with just fingers. I think the comb was just too harsh. Unite the head and the body together again. Yup, she looks great. Love it. Time to make the outfit. I want her to wear something simple yet sophisticated. I think a dress would look good on her. Put the skirt portion aside for now. I start by sewing the darts on the front piece. Trim the excess. Then sew the front piece and the back pieces together by the shoulder seams. Cut slits around the neckline to release tension, glue the flaps down and hem it. Look how clean the neckline hem looks. A new needle does make a lot of difference. I didn't know we're supposed to change the needle of our machine every time we start a new project. Just me? Okay, I thought we only change the needle when the old one is broken. Anyway, hem the armholes the same way we did the neckline. Now we can sew the side seams. The top portion of the dress is done, now we tackle the skirt portion. Sew the darts on the back pieces of the skirt. Sew the back pieces to the front piece by the side seams. Now we unite the top portion to the skirt portion by the hip. Hem the bottom part. Before we sew the opening tabs, I wanna try to do one of those decorative stitches. Number 70 looks cute, let's go with that. And it's upside down. Good thing it's within the opening tab so you won't even notice it. Put the fabric in the right direction under the machine and go to town. Here's the result, it's cute. If your machine has this feature, try it out, it's kinda fun. Sew the opening tabs. All we have to do now is attach the snaps and the dress is done. I put the dress on the doll. She looks like a mother or a nurse. Cute, but not what I'm going for. Perhaps a jacket will complete her look, so let's make her one. Here's the pattern for the outer portion of the jacket. And here's for the lining portion. It's pretty much the same with the outer portion, but without the sleeve pieces, and the back pieces is separated into two pieces. Sew the two front pieces of the outer portion to the back piece by the shoulder seams. Sew the lapel piece on a piece of fabric. Trim the excess, turn it inside out, and iron the lapel flat. Also sew the sleeves to the outer portion. Now we baste the lapel to the outer portion in the direction it's supposed to lay down. When you do a basting stitch, keep in mind to do it within the seam allowance. I also added decorative stitches. After that, go ahead and sew the side seams. Turn it inside out and we're done with the outer portion. Take two back pieces of the lining portion and sew them together, but leave a gap in the middle. Like so, you'll see why this is very important. Grab the front piece and sew them to the back piece by the shoulder and side seams, basically making a vest. Take the lining portion with the wrong side facing out and insert it to the outer portion, like so. Match up the edges of both portions, make sure the lapel is on the inside and sew all around it. After you sew the edges together, trim off the excess and corners. This is why the gap we made earlier is very important, because we have to pull out the entire jacket through that gap in order to finish this piece of clothing. To avoid the lining from getting in the way when we put it on a doll, I whip stitch the armholes of the lining to the sleeves seam allowance. Now we can let her stitch the gap closed. I picked up this lining technique from Tony Land. I'll leave the link of the video in the description box. You guys should check it out. It has a lot of great tips on sewing doll clothes. Thank you so much, Tony. Now I know how to sew crisp lapel. For the shoes, I want to give her some high heels, but since we didn't make any alteration to the doll's feet, regular Monster High girl shoes won't fit. So we're going to modify these Nathan Roth shoes into high heels. I start by trimming them, leaving only the soles. I cut 2 small pieces of dowels like this. This will act as armatures for the heels and glue them to the soles. Mix some epoxy and build the heels. I'm also gonna modify the toe boxes to be pointy. This will not only make the shoes look better but also make the soles more stable. After the epoxy has cured, you guessed it, sand it. I tried to make them as flat and even as possible because I want the doll to have a chance to stand on its own while wearing the shoes. I paint the soles white. Then I varnish them. This time I use satin varnish just for fun. I use the cling wrap and masking tape method to make the pattern for the shoe coverage. Then I cut out the pattern out of some white vinyl. Glue the pieces to the soles. And the shoes are done. I think they're kinda ugly. Maybe if we decorate them a little, they will look better. Nope, still ugly, but I can live with that. Other accessories I make for her are a pearl necklace out of tiny white beads. Why is it pronounced necklace, not necklace? A white belt. And I also paint her nails blue. And finally, we can call it a doll. The shoes actually delivered. The doll can stand on its own wearing them, and I know extending the shoes this much make her fit look humongous, but I like it. I think it adds more to her character. I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but I want all the dolls I've made for the PAINTCULIAR series to exist in the same place, or in the same universe at least. That's why I think a mayor character is necessary, and here she is. I introduce you, Miranda the mayor. Also, I noticed she is the first female doll in the series. I want her to look like someone you can trust, someone who looks like they know what they're doing, a quality a mayor should have, and I think Dracula's face sculpt conveys that expression pretty well. But I have to be honest, I feel like my doll doesn't stand out compared to the other dolls in this collaboration. Don't forget to watch their videos, by the way. She feels a little too regular, but hopefully after adding more context to her, how she's a mayor and all that, it adds more value to her. All in all, I love the way she turned out and I feel proud about it. Anyway, happy Pride Month, of course. If you can celebrate, go ahead and have fun. But please do me a favor, raise awareness about your queer siblings who don't have that privilege. That is all for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you want to. See you in the next one. Bye!